I joined the Army in '99 as a combat engineer. I was active duty. I got sent to Germany in 2000. So I was stationed in Germany from 2000 to 2002, then in Fort Hood, Texas from '03 to '04. When 9/11 happened in '01, we were in Rosvadov, Czech Republic, doing flood relief. We found out through Czech military, we tried to cross back into Germany to get back to base, and the borders had been shut down because of the attacks. So we got stuck in Rosvadov for 4 days. Finally, we were able to get back and get onto base and call my family, let them know I was okay. I had 4 days of no news after that. They were a little freaked out. Yeah, so after that, we pretty much went right into training for war in the Middle East. Where I was stationed was Grafenbier. Germany was our training area, so we renamed it Grafghanistan. That, but yeah, we started there. I got sent to Fort Hood, Texas in December of '02. We deployed to Kuwait in January of '03. There we did, preparing to cross the border. I was part of the first wave to cross the border in '03 with the 1-5 Expeditionary Marine Unit. We crossed on March 19th of '03. It was supposed to be a Navy Seabee team that was attached to them. They couldn't catch
Seabee?
up. Navy Seabees.
Oh, okay.
They did the same thing in the Navy that I did in the Army. They got held up at port, some logistical issues, so we were attached to the 1-5 Marines. It was supposed to be for a couple weeks. It ended up being 7 weeks that we were attached to them. After that, we got attached to 1st Mountain Division, or 10th Mountain Division, then 1st Cav. Our job was opening doors. Sappers we use a controlled explosion to open a door. So our job was sweeping buildings in and around Baghdad, and starting to get to the towns and the outlying areas. We cleared Baghdad International, Saddam's Palace. It was an experience.
Wow.
But part of what the unit I was attached to, the Marine unit, they had a National Geographic team come there with us. So they filmed a documentary, 21 Days to Baghdad. So I'm in the background in it a couple of times. So, but no, '04 or '03 we were there until end of July. We came back to Fort Hood and immediately got orders to go back to Iraq in January of '04. We left right after New Year's in '04. We went over and did some more of the same, clearing buildings, looking for, rounding up insurgents, and then protecting convoys running from the ports in Kuwait back up to Baghdad. So it was a lot of miles and a lot of action, a lot of different experiences, and I got out in '04 after that second tour. There were not a lot of systems in place for guys coming home, how to deal with the demons and then the experiences. And when I got out of the Army in '04, it was I did not transition well to civilian life. I didn't know how to be a civilian. I got home late June of '04, and I was out of the Army 2 weeks later and back home in Iowa with no transition time. It took me a while to adjust. The last 20 years or so I was lost for a while. My wife, Monica, has been a saint. She's been with me through all the bad times and the good. She's helped me learn to deal with my demons and grow. And when I got out, I felt like something was missing. Like nothing that I was doing was good enough. I wasn't doing it for anything bigger than me. I started teaching 10 years ago. This is my 10th year. And when I started teaching, I started to get that back. That hole started to fill up, and it's because I'm doing something that's bigger than myself. I'm a part of something that's bigger than myself, helping prepare these kids for the real world. And I've taken all those experiences I've had, knowing that not most people aren't going to experience that, and hoping that most don't. But I bring those into my classroom, and I use those to help the kids. I think I'm able to build relationships on a deeper level because of that. I love my job. I love Oline. This has been a great town, and that healing process is. This is where I want to finish it. So. Yeah.
So, how old were you when you went in?
I was 17 when I signed up for the Army. I had my parents sign a waiver so I could join when I was 17. We have a long family tradition of military. Both my biological grandpas and then my grandmother's second husband after my grandpa passed away were all military. My biological grandpa was part of Patton's army through North Africa and Italy. My adopted grandpa was a combat medic in Vietnam. My dad was 509th Airborne Infantry through Vietnam. It's just a lot of, I always felt like it was something I needed to do. Growing up around that, and I don't think I had much of a chance, but
Dance?
had much of a chance of not joining the military.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's always been a part of my life as being a kid, going to the Legion with my dad, going to the barber shop, listening to the stories and the guys talking, and it gave me that sense of I need to do something. And sorry, that's my Gabby, come here.
Can you explain like how much of it was like combat?
Well, we were invading a country. It was all combat. It was every moment was on edge.
You said a lot of the systems weren't in place.
Yeah, to get out, like to help transition that wasn't there, to help learn how to be a civilian. I joined the army when I was 17. They put money in my bank account. They gave me a pillow to lay my head on. They gave me meals. That everything was laid out for me for 5 years. Every aspect of my life was planned and detailed, and going from that to being 23 years old and being a civilian for the first time in my adult life, I had no idea how to be an adult without the military telling me what to do.
Are your buddies?
Oh yeah, my brothers and sisters that I served with, we still talk quite a bit, and we're all, being 20 years down the road now, it's easier for us to talk about it, and we all wish that something would have been available when we first got out, so that this transition would have been easier, so that we didn't have to figure it out for ourselves. The good thing about that, though, I've figured out how to talk about it a little more openly, and by doing that, I'm able to work with some of the vets that are just coming home today. So working with them to help them avoid some of the mistakes I made, to help them deal with some of the demons that we both, that we all have that are the same. That's been more helpful to me than anything. Is working with those guys and knowing I'm not alone, and it's still continuing. And
that's awesome. Is that through the armory?
Through the VA.
You pointed. Okay.
Yeah.
Through Marshalltown then, or what?
Iowa City.
Iowa City. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you how does that work?
What's that?
Do you like
It's just a network of veterans that
Okay.
we've all put in. We're available to talk if anybody in this area. So I'll get a phone call or an email every now and again, and hey, somebody's coming home. They'd like to talk to somebody, and I'll reach out and then just kind of help out where I can and when I can.
Great. I know the schools have done a lot with there's been recently a push on social emotional learning
Yeah.
for kids. I'm assuming that that's something that wasn't in school when you were in school.
No, not really. No, growing up with the military family and all farmers and construction workers, and emotion wasn't a big part. It was, so learning how to deal with that while bottling everything up, it wasn't healthy. I had some very unhealthy coping mechanisms. Learning how to deal with my anger and things like that. It's now everything's great.
So
But it wasn't always so.
you found your place, at the school, and it sounds like reaching out to other vets. Is there anything else you do to help you cope now that you felt like to be a healthy mechanism?
I spend as much time in nature as I can. I do a lot of solo canoeing, backpacking, camping trips. For some reason, being by myself out in the wilderness like that, it's surreal. That's my happy place. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Do you did they teach you Arabic when you first went over there?
No, we had interpreters that were
Okay.
attached to us. But no, we didn't learn any Arabic other than stop and get down. So
20 years later, we're pulling out of Afghanistan.
yeah.
Um,
I was never in Afghanistan, thank God. Friends of mine that they're having a hard time right now. A lot of what was it for, that type of I've got a couple buddies that I've talked to that it's just hard for them to wrap their heads around it. You know, they left a big piece of themselves over there in those mountains, and now it kind of feels like it was all for naught.
So it sounds like they're probably going to be searching for that same sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were.
Yeah, and that's a lot of vets that go into law enforcement or any type of public service. I think that's why we're attracted to it, is because it's an opportunity for us to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. It's at the end of the day, we know that we're doing good for the community that we live in, the community that we serve. It's that fulfillment piece that has really brought about a lot of the healing, and yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to say anything else about the situation in Afghanistan, or do you want to leave it at that?
I honestly have not watched a whole lot of news about it because it's hard for me to watch too. I think it was time to get out. Hindsight's 20/20. Anybody can sit here and Monday morning quarterback it, but it could have been done differently, just like anything else. Just like when we invaded Iraq, that could have been done differently. We could have gone in with a stronger force and not had as many casualties. Or, it's hindsight's 20/20 type of thing. It's easy to pick it apart and look at it now, but part of that, it's done. It is what it is. How I feel about it isn't going to change anything. So that getting into that mindset that rather than letting my demons kind of define me, I use those demons to find some good. And I think a lot of the reason I love teaching is just the innocence that the kids have. I feed off of that so much, just their pure joy and excitement. It's hard for me to find that. So when I see it in the kids, it's very rewarding.